Okay, so this is part two of the video. We started shooting last night. It was June the 22nd, 2012. Today is June the 23rd, 2012. And right now it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. My battery ran out on my camera. That's why in part one of this broadcast, it kind of switched off there at the end. So we're getting it figured out. We got the battery all charged today, so we're ready for round two of this broadcast. As you remember, we were talking about the doctors killing the elderly patients. This is from the Daily Mail. So, yeah, I guess we covered everything that we wanted to talk about here. I kind of did some thinking last night. It was really late. I went to sleep after I uploaded the video to YouTube and everything like that, and I started thinking about how I approach some of this information. Like, I was talking about how I guess how fun it is to follow the Eric Holder contempt trial and everything like that. I mean, if you're a news junkie, this is your soap opera. This is your this is your reality TV. I mean, I guess on some level I have to stop treating it like a reality TV show, because this is not a reality TV show. This is reality, and our reality is super messed up. With that said, I mean, I think it's healthy to approach this with a sense of humor, and to really get energized by your activism and by being aware. I don't think that that's totally bad. Yeah, I just sometimes when I follow some of this news, I think to myself, this is really screwed up. The only thing I can do is kind of really get involved. So maybe you guys experience a similar thing if you're into news and information as much as I am. Okay, so we're just gonna hurry up and head on over to InfoWars again. Really good coverage on the Stuxnet virus and the Flame virus. The government, our government, with the assistance of the Israeli government, created the Stuxnet virus, and we released it on the Iranian systems as a cyber attack, and now it's being used. Stuxnet is being used as a legitimization thing for all of the terrible laws that are being passed to restrict the internet and control us and take away our freedoms. Our freedom of speech, which is online mostly nowadays. That's the only way that you can get informed. So Kurt Nimmo wrote a great article kind of running down how the government colluded with Microsoft. The CIA it says infiltrated Microsoft. I think they kind of just opened the door for him and let him in. According to Mikko Hyppinen, Chief Research Officer of antivirus and security software vendor F-Secure, U.S. intelligence infiltrated Microsoft's core Windows and application development programming teams in order to spread the Stuxnet, Dugu, and Flame viruses. I've never heard of Dugu, but yeah, Dugu is one of those. The announcement that links Flame to Stuxnet and the conclusive proof that Stuxnet was a U.S. tool means that Flame is also linked to the U.S. government, Hyppinen told PC Pro last week. This makes you think that this breach of Microsoft's update system was done by the Americans and most likely a U.S. agency, someone like the NSA, Hyppinen said. That must make Microsoft mad as hell that its most critical system, used by 900 million of its customers, was breached by fellow Americans. Yeah, I'm sure they're fuming. They probably just let them in. Although the NSA has worked with Microsoft in the past, and it links to that story, Hyppinen does not believe the software giant collaborated with the NSA and the CIA to exploit their own operating system. I don't think Microsoft was in on it, that it was helping the U.S. government, and I don't believe that because it looks very bad for Microsoft. I find it very hard to believe that Microsoft's top management would have approved that. Yeah, well, you need to wake up, because there are companies that just don't care about customers, and their largest customer is the United States government, and those companies are Microsoft and Google and pretty much all of the cyber companies the government already owns the internet. They're just kind of letting us rent it, and they let ISPs give us the information that we're looking for and the access to the internet at exorbitant costs, so the corporations reap a profit and the government gets to spy on us. It's all under control, folks. Yeah, so it's a pretty sick system we've got here. Stuxnet, I mean, they're trying to use that for everything, for a blanket for everything, and I am tired of it. Alright, well, we're going to get into the weird news section of our program tonight. Swedish Left Party chapter wants to make urinating while standing illegal for men. That's right, you heard correctly. So this far-left Marxist-Leninist party that they have in Sweden wants to make men sit down to pee, and they want to make co-ed bathrooms. The co-ed bathrooms thing is not mentioned, I think, in this report, but basically they want to make everything co-ed. There's a really funny clip here from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Check that out. And they want to make men sit down to urinate in these co-ed bathrooms. So men get humiliated and women feel uncomfortable because men are in the bathroom with them. But, you know, everything's fair and everything's equal. And that's just the most important thing, is that the state makes everything fair and equal. And everybody is equally humiliated. So that's what socialism gets you. And this is just an example of that. This is the nanny state writ large. In a way, I wish that our government here in the U.S. would just stick to making these kooky policies, which, let's face it, are unenforceable. I mean, are they going to, like, hire cops to make sure that men sit down to pee in the bathroom? If I went into a co-ed bathroom, I would just stand up to urinate, and everybody would just have to deal with it. And women wouldn't like having me in the bathroom, but I really wouldn't have a choice because they're talking about getting rid of all of the male and female bathrooms. So no privacy, no self-respect, nothing. You don't get anything. You know, with that said, I would rather have our government do stupid stuff like this rather than getting corporations to spy on us, you know, bulldozing other nations that we have no business being in, you know, undermining our freedoms at home and abroad all the time. I mean, we just have a total dictatorial system. Sweden, minor dictatorial system. We're just going to make you sit down to pee. It's probably just a suggestion. You should probably become more enlightened, more leftist, more Marxist. We would just prefer that. So, I don't know, but pick your poison. You know, you could die the death of 1,000 cuts from socialism, or you could just get your head blown off by Obama's regime. So the choice is yours. Oh wait, you never have a choice ever. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, speaking of sitting down to pee, number of stay-at-home dads has doubled in the past decade as man session bites. So this is a complex issue. I'm going to try to explain how this is really not good for society, that men are staying home rather than working these jobs. I mean, this is something, it's fine if couples choose to voluntarily do this stuff in order to raise their kids appropriately and to save money. It's not fine when our whole manufacturing base has been undermined and jobs that are typically held by men have just been shipped off to other countries. This isn't like an example of equality. It's not like men are waking up and becoming, you know, more enlightened. It just doesn't work that way. And this article kind of pays a little bit of lip service to, it doesn't talk about how jobs are destroyed or anything like that. It just says like, well, men are staying at home. That's a good thing. Look at the men participating in household chores while the women go out and earn a living. I mean, we don't produce anything in this country, and the jobs that are the production jobs, you know, the heavy manufacturing jobs, the craft work kind of jobs, those are just gone. So men who have traditionally held those jobs have to get educations, and women are already a little ahead of the curve because they choose to educate themselves more often. If you guys remember the movie Mr. Mom, I mean, that was considered weird back in the 80s when that was made. Michael Keaton plays a dad who stays home with his kids, and it's just really bizarre and quirky. Now it's the freaking norm. I mean, this is where our country's headed, and it's studies have shown that, you know, married men might be able to kind of get away with this, and they're fine. Single men who are suffering from the mancession and have had their jobs ripped out from under them, they're, you know, roaming around in the streets, they're doing drugs, they're drinking, they're not trying to get new jobs, they're hopeless. I mean, this is a lost generation. And this article kind of says that, I mean, it focuses on these yuppie families, like this one. Nolan Kiddo, age 32, of Boston, has become a main caregiver, for his 11-week-old daughter, and his wife completes his wife completes her dental education. He deferred work on his doctoral degree in accounting after doing some recession-era math. His earning power versus her earning power in the face of more than $360,000 in student loans. At the very beginning, they were a little weirded out. Like, what do we talk about? What's the common themes? But now the impression I get more is actually jealousy. I think he's talking about his male friends and what they think about it. They're jealous. He said of his working dad friends, it's not like mean kinds of things, but just, oh, I wish I could stay at home, or, oh, I'd love to go to that park. And in addition to factors such as maximizing household income and avoiding expensive daycare, more fathers than ever before relish the idea of playing a greater role in the rearing of their children. Well, you know, that's all fine and good, but I would rather provide for my family rather than have, you know, the main caregiver have to stay at home and then the mother goes out and earns a living or completes a dental education or whatever. We have no economy at all. Neither of these people have what sounds like real jobs, and they're just racking up student loans and foregoing the inevitable. I mean, and I can speak for myself in this instance. I'm going to college, and the only way that I can pay for the exorbitant college tuition fees is through student loans. And basically, I don't know if I'm going to get a really good job after that. So really, what am I investing in? I'm not really sure. These people don't seem to be sure either. But, you know, all these academics, and they make a point of talking about some of these academic guys here saying, well, this is a good thing, you know, men are taking on these roles and everything's fine. This is equality. I mean, the court intellectuals that we have in this country don't understand that our economy is being ruined and that the nuclear family is being threatened because of it. And all they can see are these tangibles, like men are suddenly becoming sensitive, they're sitting down to pee, they're taking care of children, they're being totally emasculated by the state corporate architecture. I mean, yeah, I want to drink tea with my daughter all day, but it's not like, I mean, they treat this thing like it's a vacation, okay? These people are struggling financially. This is supposed to be the wealthiest country in the world. And they're just treating it like it's the next big thing, like it's a trend. It's just a cool fad. So look through the lies here and look at the deeper corrosion of the family that's happening here, the deeper corrosion of our socioeconomic structure, how the vast corporate interests, the 1% that live on our planet, hog up all of the resources and leave us with nothing and feed us debt slavery in order for us not to revolt. And it's just not acceptable anymore. It's not going to work. None of this is sustainable. And studies have shown that women who go to work and the husband stays home, a lot of the time they end up resenting the husband. They dislike their corporate jobs because they're, you know, treated like crap by their male superiors. But they like them because they're not able to kind of like talk back, and they're not as insubordinate as men are. I mean, that's just my theory. I don't know. It's I am a big believer in the family as being kind of like the central political unit, just after the individual, and everything is just getting undermined. People don't have any individuality anymore. You have to submit to the state. You have to get on forced medical death, in the state-run hospitals. The state corporations steal your jobs and give money to bankers. Meanwhile, you stay at home in your tiny, tiny little